Hello and welcome to the Irish Hunting Podcast, the no bullshit podcast for the outdoor enthusiasts. If you're into hunting, fishing, fine wines and even finer foods, you've come to the right place. So pull up a chair.
Hello and welcome back to the Irish Hunting Podcast, episode number 95. On this week's episode, we welcome in Andrew Henderson. Andrew, who works in search and rescue, is an avid hunter and also a big game fisherman. He's also chairman of Sligo Regional Game Council. Hope you enjoy, folks. Mr. Tracy, welcome back.
Thanks for having me on again.
You're making an old habit of this. Just tried to twist your arm now, I can't get fucking rid of you. Excuse me, man, them peanuts are nice.
Pints of Guinness were nice.
Yeah, too many. No, we didn't have too many. We only had one or two. We are sitting down tonight with Andrew Henderson. Now, I'm really excited about this, man, because Andrew sent us a few pictures. We'd been going back and forward with him for the last couple of weeks. Tell us a little bit more.
So, Andy's based up in Sligo, so he made contact because in one of the previous podcasts we put out that we don't have to always look somewhere foreign or abroad, that we have plenty of things here on island. So he was of the same mindset and he reached out and he's offered to bring us on a couple of different excursions, so the likes of lobster fishing, which is very, very interesting to me.
I cannot wait to see that in operation. Now, we're going to have to earn our craft. You might be a bit under pressure, man. Your hands haven't done a bit of work in quite a while.
Yeah, but me biceps.
See, what?
Me biceps are
Your
huge.
bicep.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. He's the possibility of sea trout. He's avid. He's big into deer shooting, so he has fallow and red, and then a little bit of tuna fishing, which until this point I didn't know we could fish for tuna off the coast of Ireland.
Yeah, I had heard about this. I'd heard about it, but didn't know a tap about it. So, excuse me, there's after a peanut after getting caught in my throat now. So this is really live work. But yeah, so that's big game fishing. I didn't even know that was a thing, man. Big game. Well, I knew you could catch big fish, but that's a thing. Like big.
Yeah, like the torpedo of the sea, tuna. Like,
imagine a tuna head mounted on the wall.
Now,
looking at with brick. I'm just saying.
I don't think we're allowed to take any.
I know, yeah,
these
I know. We can't do
categories.
that.
But just to even, I don't even want to. If I seen it, if I just got to witness it, I'd be over the moon.
Imagine sitting on a boat watching lads reeling this thing in.
Yeah. Now, would I like to catch them? Yes, I would.
Yeah.
For sure.
Might just have to butt someone over. Give it it's my fish.
So,
But
and another thing that I liked just from chatting to Andy was he's big on giving both young people and new people to the sport a fair shot at starting. So he'll bring out new people.
like a mentor, and we'll be talking to a couple of people, which we'll be chatting over the next couple of months in terms of that, trying to encourage the mentoring process, I suppose,
Yeah.
and encouraging new people into sport.
Because without that,
there is no sport.
there is no sport. Well, like, it's all right for anyone who's there and pulls up the ladder for the next generation or new people, but that's not how you grow a sport.
It's mad how I think your perspective changes. When I started hunting, which is not all that long ago. It was you're hungry to do it yourself. And as we were chatting here this evening, I was just thinking there where it's already changed. I'm already obviously we're involved with the youth development stuff, and so your focus is now, it's already changed even without kind of realising it.
Yeah.
If I get out and get a bird in the season, I'm happy. And if I see some of the young lads or some of the new lads in the club, I'm even happier, And that's, I suppose, a sign of fucking getting old, maybe. And then I think it's contrary to the thing that it's a bloodthirsty sport. That's the ultimate contradiction to it, you know.
Dude, I'm to be having these conversations in work. So rearing the pheasants, people are saying to me, sure, you're only rearing them to let them out to shoot. No. If we rear 300 and we shoot 20, you're welcome.
Yeah.
The rest of the world, because we just put out.
Yeah.
The rest of without conservation work by gun clubs and individuals, there would be no pheasants. You wouldn't see them.
That's the thing, and I think even that, man. Like, I think the you know, when I look at the last couple of years and how my shooting has changed, I've just down personally. I know for a fact this is from going back a couple of years with you, because you would have brought me out loads of times, had the opportunity to shoot loads, and didn't, because you were trying to give me my opportunity to shoot mine. So I know for a fucking fact it's not that. It's not when people put up, oh, they're bloodthirsty, like as if we're running around like fucking zombies looking to shoot everything. It could not be further from the truth. It's like there's like almost and I genuinely think I'm going through it, and it's like a passing of the guard thing, you know, where my young fellas now are going to be coming into sport, your young fellas coming into it.
Yeah.
We're looking at, you know, the fucking podcast is designed to try and encourage people into it and open doors and break down kind of boundaries and stuff. So it's like definitely, I think it's changed. And Andy is one of them lads who is vital to that. He's a young man. I think he's 37 or 38 years of age. He's chairman of the regional game council down there in Sligo, which is very young. It's very young for that, you know, and that's a sign of his commitment and his dedication and I suppose his grit, because you need, like, to create small changes within any organisation requires a little bit of requires a lot of grit and a lot of determination, especially because our sport has changed. It's changed since the you know, I'm sitting as chairman of my club at the minute. I look at the badge and it's 1976 or something. The times have changed since then. So you know, I'm bringing something different, not half as much graft as them lads did, but to set it up in the first place. But you know what I'm saying? You're bringing your own tweak to it, because you're
your own little bit of sprinkle of
exactly of magic pheasant dusts.
I'd be interested, because he works in search and rescue. I'd be interested the safety aspect, like how many hunters get in butter, how many fish people, what you could do. Do you know what I mean? It'd be good to get his little spin on that. Absolutely.
And then as I think what I love sitting and chatting with people, how did you get into it? You know, because you can kind of like, how the fucking hell does a man get into lobster fishing, or do you know what I mean? And even the like Sligo. I've been in Sligo just a couple of times, probably from the GAA aspect, but never really. And I remember actually looking, I think it's Markovich Park, looking up at the mountains behind it, and what do you think, last year, or maybe it was this year, and thinking, I wonder what's up in them hills. And here we are now, not knowing. I'd be talking to a man,
and we'll be going
down there, and that brings us probably on to our plan, probably over the next couple of months. Now I know there's going to be a little bit of jiggery poker here, because we've a lot of plans and there's a lot of people reaching out at the minute, but what we want to try and do is, I suppose, is get to chat to as many people around the country as we can, dip down, have a delve into the way people are hunting and fishing in different parts of the country, what those parts of the country have to offer in terms of hunting and fishing, and different clubs, different tips, tricks, what lads are, you know what I'm saying?
Open doors and share the information with everyone. And to show the lads here on Ireland that you probably don't have to travel too far to get exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I mean,
and look, we're the ones, I know we're travelling around Europe and stuff at the minute. And
that's not changing. I'm still going to
Africa. Absolutely, yeah.
But there's so much here that genuinely I didn't realise was on the island and available.
Well, I haven't been as excited about this, man. I remember when our first trip to Hungary was, you know, and you know, the knot in your belly, because you don't know where you're going, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you're walking into, all that kind of stuff, and it's really, really exciting. But I'm as excited for this. I was talking to Shane today, Shane O'Neill. Shane is putting together, we're going to tip down and have a look at his pheasant rear and going to bring us on out, maybe doing a bit of snaring and a little bit of trapping and stuff like that. See how the old timers did it. Shane was gifted that knowledge from his predecessors, and he's hopefully going to share it with us and look at how they operate their club and stuff. Cannot wait. Just cannot.
And video as much as that as possible, will we?
We're definitely going to do that.
Just so other clubs, now they might take the information, they might not, but they could see something and go, I could use that. Well,
I know for a fact, just even from the bits and pieces that we were chatting to lads, the amount of information you glean. One of the lads actually in our club, just as Nolly, had a piece of an old really rotten timber, and the pheasants obviously, they're born kind of, day olds and 3 days old, but they'll be all in the little same enclosure, and sometimes they just start to peck each other because they're...
Yeah, so you're giving them something else to peck at.
Absolutely, and it's just the distraction, and they're reefing it apart, and they're so mad and busy with that. I threw in a nettle today. I'm actually using my greenhouse. I let all the weeds grow, even though I've stuff planted for my pheasants, because I have my pheasants in there. And now I'm weeding with a purpose. So I'm weeding and throwing it into them. And the minute I throw it in, they start rooting around and flaking it. And on the nettles, there's these little kind of little white mites or something. They're little kind of...
Like white fly.
White fly, white fly, yeah. That's I wonder what they're called, white fly. Anyway, but through one nettle, I got a little video of it there today. And they just go mad, pecking all the little white flies off it, and then pulling the nettle apart. And it was gas. One of them, obviously, the nettle kind of stings him, I think, a little bit, because one of them kind of got and he took off, but it was like pleasure painting. I liked it. I like what's on that. I don't know what I like, but it did to me. But so yeah, it's just
even the joy in the house, and with the kids from St. Mark's, but even in the house. So you gave me eggs that I have in the incubator. They're only there 4 days. The kids in the house are drawing pictures of what the chicks are going to be like. They come down every day, want to see the eggs. They think it's going to come out any second, and I'm trying to explain, no.
Yeah.
They are loving it.
Loving it, yeah. And I think every morning the kids across the way here come over to my house. There's like a gathering, and they all go down and check on the pheasants, and they check on the eggs, and they're sure, is that not really what it's all about? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you know? So, yeah, I think that's as big a compliment as you can give to Andy, because he's nurturing that, he's encouraging it on a scale down in Sligo. So, and if anyone needs to get in contact with him, we'll have all his details up on all the social medias and stuff like that. Speaking of which, socials have gone mad.
So I was just going to, before we jump onto him, it's gone bananas.
Crazy.
So the amount of people, the likes of this going around Ireland, please do reach out and touch base with us, and we'll try our best to get down to you. I know people have reached out and said, I was a bit embarrassed about, or he was embarrassed, so he reached out on his behalf. There's none of that.
No.
Zero of that. We're all here to learn. But on top of that, then, we're meeting people to do dog training. Someone's dog is having problems. We're zeroing another lad's rifle. So it's just after exploding.
It's after exploding, man. Yeah.
Really to the point of, I don't have enough time.
I know.
I might have to go up work.
Look, we're going to have to retire. The problem is there, man. Unfortunately, this doesn't pay. It's great crack and it's brilliant, and we'll but like that we'll try and make plans to try and get a turn to as many as we can.
Yeah. So please do reach out.
Yeah. So we're going to try and I don't know. We'll have to come up. That's a thing. I was actually thinking about this podcast, and I when I was doing the social this morning, I was thinking about we have the Field Sports Hour, this kind of tour of Ireland, a good name for it. What would be kind of anyway, we'll leave that to the
lads listening.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there'll be some very, very
smart ones, yeah. 2 pricks on tour or something, yeah. Yeah, but like that, I think that'll be really cool. I'm ultra excited. I think because we've and you weren't down at it last year, and you would have loved it, man. Down with Owen with the foothounds.
I was watching it.
Yeah,
I was watching. I would have liked him to go.
And Owen has a stick down there. I got a stick last year, and I still haven't got down to collect it. And I purposely haven't done it because I want to get down to use my stick at the hunt, you know. So we'll reach out to Owen as well, and we'll definitely get back down, because that's a different gravy, you know. It's something that I don't think you weren't ever at the Foothounds before, were you?
Foothounds, no. At the hunt.
You were at the hunt before,
I was at the hunt a couple of times in Tip.
Yeah, but brilliant community, brilliant exponents for country sports, and looking forward to getting back down there again if we can. I'm thinking all this, man, as if we're going to have.
But there's a good few after reaching out already.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
If they want to showcase what Ireland has and what their sport's about in terms of field sport, I don't do no badminton.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we'll keep it nice and country. Keep it country, yeah. So, that's going to happen over the next couple of weeks. So we're really excited about it. Hope you are too. Hope you're enjoying what we're doing. I think as you said, I think we got 2 million Facebook views this month.
Yeah.
The YouTube channel, which is all your great work.
YouTube, in the last 28 days, the last time I checked, it was 50-odd thousand.
Yeah.
Views.
In a month.
And
we're coming up to 100,000 total views, and that's only after literally kicking off there in the last...
On YouTube? Yeah. Just
literally...
That's not views, that's hours watched.
Hours what? Yeah.
Yeah. And then the podcast, just downloads, is up over 100,000.
Mental.
Yeah.
Mental.
Download. I'd like to know what the actual listens are.
Yeah, it's so hard to gauge. I think you can get some of the stuff on Spotify creators, but then Spotify only kind of accounts for, I think, about 60% of our download or our listens. I logged into it once. I think it was 160,000. So we're probably close on, I don't know. Someone do the maths on it. Probably 300,000 or 400,000, whatever.
Two Egypts talking into mics.
I'm telling you, man,
we're doing all right.
It's a bit surreal, dude. Listen, like we're going chatting to a lad here in Sligo, and we're just looking through the reels, talking to Adam Grendo over in America and stuff, and I like the world is the where to next, as they say, you know.
Yeah.
Sligo, that's where we're next. And on that note, here's Andrew. I was going to say Robertson, because
Henderson.
I kept. Do you know when something gets into your mind? Andrew Henderson.
Hope you enjoyed this, folks.
Hope you enjoyed this one, folks. Andy, welcome to the Irish Hunting Podcast, my man.
Thanks very much to both you and Rob.
Thanks a million, dude. All the way from County Sligo. Are you sitting in County Sligo at the minute?
Yeah, the Wild West, up in the
Wild West.
Yeah.
Andy, thanks a million for coming on. We've been chatting to Rob and myself for the last couple of weeks there, so we really appreciate your time, and we've looked at some of the photos of your neck of the woods. I think we were just chatting off air there about the what Ireland has to offer in terms of hunting and fishing and stuff like that, and sometimes, because we live here, it's like the mechanic's car or the builder's house, we take a little bit for granted, but we have some beautiful places here to do just that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like the stuff on our doorstep is second to none. I think, like us as hunters, we don't take on how good we actually have it, especially compared to some of the continents, and even in England. You know, it's we have so much, and it's such a wide variety. Like, you know,
absolutely. I suppose for people that don't know you, you've Andrew Henderson, you're chairman of Sligo Regional Game Council. Correct me if I'm wrong in any of these, but because sometimes I do get it wrong at the odd time. You're chairman of Sligo RGC. You're a search and rescue operator.
Yeah, so I'm chairman of Sligo RGC. I'm currently working for the Irish Coast Guard Search and Rescue, covering from Derry down to Galway. And then in my previous life, before that, I was in the Merchant Navy, so sailed pretty much all around the world. Missed out on the Antarctica and the Pole, but that's about it. Everywhere else I've kind of touched on. And then the life before that, I studied to be a quantity surveyor, and before that, I was a fisherman part-time. And in and out between the whole thing, I've done fishing the whole way through, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Andy, how did you get into fishing or shooting, like your field sports in general? Can you bring us back?
So field sports would have started really, really young. Actually, I started with my. I'll go down the hunting side and then I'll come back to the fishing side.
Yeah,
So
perfect.
my grandfather would have been a hunter. Day dot, always had dogs, any variety of different dogs. I would have remembered him having pheasants, poults in the garage, running around. So he would have been at that. I would have been talking early 90s. And I remember I plagued and eventually got away shooting with them. Him and my father and my uncle. So I would have spent a lot of time with them. The start, I was tasked to stay with my grandfather. At that stage, he wasn't great on his old pegs and that, getting on in years. And I was kind of to keep an eye on him, and he was to keep an eye on me. So
And
that's
nobody keeping an eye on anyone.
no, exactly. I came home wet an awful lot of times where I stood in places where I shouldn't have stood and got given out to, but it was all a steep learning curve when you get there. To give you an idea how long ago it was, I remember I at first started going with yellow wellies, and I thought once I can get green wellies, I'm a hunter. Then you know what I mean. So you know yourselves, you get yellow, you get green wellies at whatever age. I was like, I'm in now. I'm in the club.
Or if you wellies with no plastic bags in them, you're
You've reached the pinnacle then.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I would have been young. I would have been kind of more in charge of the dog. So I would have been dogs would be retrieving ducks or whatever, like we used to do a bit of duck shooting, rabbits, things like that. I'd be taking everything off them and sending them and stuff like that. So that was how I started. Gradually came on, went through the stages. 14, got my first gun license on my outlads gun. 16, got my license on one of my outlads guns, the full license, where I was able to go on my own. It was actually an AYA side by side dual trigger, beautiful gun.
Yeah, very nice gun.
Yeah. And then got a few pound together and bought my own bagel. So bagel under and over. Some people say it's as good as an oar. Couldn't, like, loads of fellas says, oh, it blows the shoulder off you and all that. I had the bagel. I only changed it in the last couple of years because it couldn't take steel shot. Other than that, I would have kept that thing forever. Like, couldn't knock it. Do you know what I mean? And go on, sorry.
What did you change it to?
I changed to a Frenchie semi-auto synthetic.
Oh, very nice. And what are you using it for? Obviously,
woodcock. Yeah. Woodcock. Well, I do a bit of everything. So the woodcock, ducks, snipe, pheasants. We do a little bit of grouse, small bit of grouse. And then if I get a chance, I'll do crows and bits and pieces. But that's fairly limited up with us. There's not an awful lot of crop in that.
Okay.
But it'll be mostly rough. That's why I went synthetic. And then I'm really lucky up here. There's a game dealer away. He's over in Mayo, T. Kelly Sports. And I had said to him, I'm right-handed, but I shoot left-handed because I'm very predominantly left-eyed. And I said to him, I'm looking for a left-handed semi-auto. And he said, I have this one. I was like, I'll be over. So sold on her.
Funny enough, I follow and I see he does a bit of advertising on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. And it's a shop when we're down, we'll have to visit because he does great work on the Instagram and stuff. And I like some of his gear there, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a small world, as I say. I have never met the man, but
Peter,
by all accounts.
Peter, and I used to deal with his dad before that, God rest him, Tom. But yeah, I was only there a couple of weeks ago. There was actually a lad who joined the club, new. Funny story about that. He has never been shooting. A little bit older than me. Wanted to get into the club, and he worked with a guy in Mayo. And the guy in Mayo was on the regional of their region. And he said to me at one of the meetings, one of the national meetings, there's a guy in Sligo looking to get into it. And I said, oh yeah, give him my number, get him to ring me and we'll see where we go. So he rang me. I actually know the lad from round town since I was a young fella. You know what I mean? So we're after getting him up and going. We were over there a couple of weeks ago getting his shotgun. And I always look at it as, you know, in Harry Potter, when you go to buy your wand and you walk in, well, that's kind of like what Tom Kelly says. You walk in and there's loads of guns. Like there's hundreds, right?
Yeah.
And the beauty about him is you tell him, I want to spend. And he'll say, right, and before you even put your hand on, no, you can't have that one. And he'll direct you to where your budget is. He won't leave you with lifting a thing that's way out of your budget. And you're like, oh, that's class and whatever. He'll taper you in the right way, like.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And just one sec, your little microphone is just rubbing off your.
Sorry.
There
Sorry.
you go.
Is that a bit better?
You're fine. You're fine, because I know there'll be people screaming at us. You won't hear at your end, but we hear from our end.
Yeah.
But that's a very good point, because like a lot of people come out of a gun club or a gun shop, either disappointed or extremely worried. They're either spending too much or disappointed that they couldn't. And that's where a good shop owner, as you say, will point the lad in the right direction.
Yeah. Like I bought a couple of guns off him now, and most of my mates have as well, and it's just great over there. You know what I mean? There's no pressure. Walk in, walk out. You don't have to spend a bean, but at the same time, you kind of feel when you're leaving, if you haven't spent a bean, you're like, geez, I should have given that man a few pounds for something.
Well, we'll definitely take a spin in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll definitely look at getting up there. So graduated on. Obviously, then I was 16 with my full license. Done a nice bit of shooting with my uncle. Good shot, and I think that's probably why I went down the semi-auto route. He always shot semi-autos when I was a young fella. The cartridge ejecting out, and I always thought, this is cool. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of had a bit of a love for semi-autos. And then gradually built on from there. Me and my brother, we got involved in Sligo Gun Club, and worked our way up. And that he was secretary for a long time, and then I was kind of just a member. The same in Sligo, and then in 2023, two years ago now, I left C. So I stopped being away, because I was roughly away 6 months of the year, home 6 months of the year. Now it was split up 10 weeks on, 10 weeks off. When that happened then, and I got the job with the Coast Guard, I was like, right, now's the time to kick on and get more involved. You know, because I would have always loved to been more involved back the years, but just couldn't commit. You know what I mean? I'd miss half the season or whatever, you know, because like there was a couple of years there where I didn't get to shoot at all in the game season. Just I was away working and that. So, it was nice, and I kicked on. I was elected chairman of the county and pushed on from there. So we're now, I'd safely say we're probably the youngest, like top table in Ireland. I'd be the second oldest, and I'm 38. So we're quite a young top table. That doesn't mean that we have loads of young members, but we have a young top table.
Why do you think that is, Andy? Why so many young members?
I'm not sure. I declared interest, and there's a couple of lads there, the older guys, and I think that they were just kind of getting a bit burnt out. So they were happy enough to leave, and then I said I was interested, and then all of a sudden another couple of lads, and it just kicked on from there. You know, it's nice. Like we're nicely spread from different clubs, and I think it kind of helps me that everyone's kind of young, because I feel more comfortable as such. You know, if you had some old boy that's there 30 years, you'd be like,
this is how we've always done it.
Yeah. So
answer me this: with so many young people on the council, do you have a youth program? Like, are you actively trying to bring out more young people or new people because they're so young?
That's essentially what we're pushing on to try and do now in the next couple of years, hopefully, to try and get youth in. Like, we go to national meetings, and the NARGC is fantastic, but we'd be definitely in the younger percentage. Do you know? As a county, we're really struggling getting youths in. Now we have one very strong club that's getting plenty of youths in, but again, it's not a sport that's kind of, your mates don't just start. You know, it's not as easy as that.
Kind of handed down. It's a traditional thing, isn't it? You know,
exactly. You know what I mean? And I think that's possibly not the greatest part of it, because you have people there and they're like, oh no, that's my ground, I don't want them going in on it. So they're not inclined to bring someone new with them. Do you know? And like, if we don't work together at some stage, we're going to lose it. Like, do you know?
Without a doubt. I did, like you probably know my story by now. I came to it later in life, you know. Although I would have had, you know, there would have been my great uncles and stuff would have hunted, and stuff like that. So I would have I would have seen it, from afar. Never really experienced it when I was younger. But like that, I remember when I was coming into it, and especially when I was going out when I started in the club and stuff. Definitely, there's, you feel, and not for any of the lads' fault, but on my part, you kind of feel a little bit intimidated. You should know stuff, and you didn't know, the kind of the traditions and the heritage and the habits of the animals and stuff. So you're kind of nearly almost faking until you make it. But I think we need to change that ethos a little bit and try and encourage.
Yeah, I
Because
definitely say that. Like on that point, like there's a lad there now, and he's fairly high up in the region. And I remember it was the 1st of November, and I went shooting, and then I was going out the 2nd, and I had missed a great bird the day before, and he had just joined the club, only started, and I had been chatting to him 2 or 3 weeks before when we were getting ready for the competition and stuff, because we
yeah,
do a 1st of November competition. And I said to him, "Sure, give me your number, and if I'm going out someday, I'll text you." And I text him November evening, the 1st of November evening, and I said, "What's the story? I'm going out tomorrow. I'm on my own. Do you want to come?" He was like, "Yeah, delighted, completely delighted." He was like, "Do I need to bring wellies? Do I need to bring this? Do I need to bring that? Will I bring
yeah,
the gun, or will I just come and see what's happening?" I said, "Sure, you won't shoot anything with the gun at home. Bring it with you." And I remember the week after that, I said to a senior member, I said, "Oh, I brought this lad out. Geez, what did you do that for? He could have shot you." Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? And that lad, I still shoot with him, and there's more chance of him. It's never going to happen that he's going to shoot
never,
me
yeah,
or shoot
yeah,
anyone. He was as safe that day as he is now.
yeah.
And there'd be times there where he'd be like, "Will you shoot the thing?" And I go out past him, and he's like, "Oh, I wasn't sure what was behind." And that's fair enough. Like, do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Super, super safe lad.
Sometimes it can be the opposite, where complacency
Yeah,
we're lads who grow up with guns and that kind of. I'm not saying that, but you know what I mean. But we probably,
I back you on that 100%.
yeah, there's a
yeah,
little bit of,
Yeah, you're that used to it, or you're that quick of a shot. You're not processing everything that's around you before you squeeze the trigger. I've seen that. I've experienced that myself, where I have shot and went, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't have shot there."
yeah.
yeah,
You know?
And
yeah,
there's probably that. So I think that the point I was trying to make was that, like that, you can kind of, sometimes we throw down the shutters way too quick, and there's loads of what's ifs and or what if they do this, or what if they're, but you're not going to. So we'd never get the chance, only for there was we had contacts within a club and stuff like that. So we need to
yeah.
try and pay that forward now.
The other thing as well is clubs need to be more accepting. Like, there's a lad there in our club. He's been there 10, 11 years. Um, in the game side of it, he's also in Lochbow there, which would be the target club
Yes.
and the clay range up with us.
Yeah.
Jerry and that great facility again in Sligo, but he's up there and he's shooting targets years. I brought him out lamping last year, and you get to a stage where lampings, you do it because the farmer wants you to do it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, we all love it, right? And you love the more complicated ones. You don't love the one where you walk into the field, you bang the light up, bang, he's gone. You love the one where he's 230 yards, you start squeaking him, he starts coming in.
Yeah.
You have to move about, you're trying to get a better angle, you're looking for a backstop. They're the ones
Yeah.
that you enjoy, right?
You have to work a
But,
little bit for you.
but I brought this lad with me last year, and we got back into the car, and he was like, "I would have paid to do that. I would have paid to do that. That's
Yeah.
like going abroad. First time ever out, looking at a game or a live thing through a scope.
Yeah.
Super, super shot, like winning competitions and everything, and just never got the lead or the start. Do you know what
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
mean?
there's nothing like that when we were only out, as you probably know, the last couple of weeks, and there's nothing like that. Sometimes you'd be sort of saying, "Oh Jesus, let's go out now and keep a farmer happy," or whatever, but you never come back in with that same
No,
attitude as
no,
you're looking outside saying, "I'm fucking, it's wet out here, I don't want to go out." But when you come back in, you're buzzing, the adrenaline's,
yeah,
you know what I mean, and you're ready to tell the lads
exactly,
about
yeah,
what you hate or what you missed, or
yeah. Like, once you get
exaggerate a little bit if you're robbed there.
Yeah. I won't exactly. I'll tell you exactly how we got on. But see what you're saying there about giving people a start.
yeah,
It's rare enough.
yeah,
In gun clubs, it is like if you're from that area and you get in, right, that's how people get a start. But someone who's starting in deer stalking, let's say,
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
very hard to get a start.
yeah,
Without a doubt.
There's very few people that will give up their ground, knowledge, any of
yeah,
it, because
yeah.
there's money involved.
But the problem then is that, like, where where's the next level, like, or where
Yeah.
where are we going, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All it takes is one generation not to have children, and then next thing there is no one taking that ground on, that ground's lost or whatever, you know what I mean? um
It's
and
it's like there's only a certain amount like of deer you can shoot and eat, or game you can shoot, and you know, if I'm speaking for myself here, but if I shoot a couple of birds, a couple of pheasant in the ear, an odd duck here or there, and a couple of deer, that's me larder full, me dog happy, I'm getting out and about. You know what I'm saying? After
yeah,
that, if a lad can come along with me, I will get, and I know you're the same. I definitely know you're the same as well, and you get as much enjoyment out of watching another fella having his shot at it, you know, his turn at it, you know. So
yeah, yeah, you feed off the adrenaline of the other
of course you
person as
do.
well, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? When someone gets one, and a bird of any sort or whatever, and the delight with them, like, you're thinking, you never think, oh well, I should have shot that. You think, fucking nice one, we got one. Like, you know, you turn from me to a team all of a sudden, like.
Without a doubt. I think last year we discussed this. I probably had my best season last year. You know, we more birds and stuff. But if you had asked me to remember any of them, I go back to the one my son shot. You know,
Yeah,
his first one. Do you know, like, and I remember him. I can see him coming over the hill now. The bird in his hand. There wasn't a tail on it. You know
yeah,
what I mean? It didn't give a fuck. That was his first bird. That was, and there's a picture of it on me on the mantelpiece in there. Do you know what I'm saying? That's it.
yeah, 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 yeah,
That's
yeah,
exactly what
yeah,
it's about, you know?
yeah, 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 yeah. And then, like, we'd run competitions, like we run a 1st of November competition, we do an end of season competition, and for the youths there, like, we've brought in a point system, so that, because what was happening was our youths were not going because, oh, I didn't get a pheasant, so I'm not going. But who cares? Whatever you get, you can come in with whatever you get a points of whatever, depending
Very
on what
good.
it is. The idea is that they rock up. Like last year, the end of season competition was won by one duck. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
He got his duck. You know what I mean? He was
brilliant.
delighted.
Brilliant
Man
idea.
headed away, delighted with himself. Do you know?
You're really encouraging them to say that they're part of this, no matter if,
Participation.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter, because lads will have, as you well know, the clever lads will have an owl cock lined up that's sitting on a fence post someplace for the
yeah,
last 2 3 years. He's
yeah,
feeding them
yeah,
with
yeah,
fucking grain. Do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, yeah,
there is that, and grand, and there's that bit of crack, and we're not looking to take that out, but we still need, you know, lads to feel, especially the young people, and even the older people who come to it late. Uh,
yeah.
they need to feel able to rock up, as you say, and feel part of that whole process. You know.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. Like, on that lad there that won this year in the county, I remember, it must be 10, 12 years ago, maybe more. He was only a gossin, and his dad had a couple of hounds. We used to do it fox driven, and we still do it. Like, but he was put with me because I was young. Well, you stick with Andy there. I'll never forget. We were there. Fox came out a bit down the line, and you hear a rattle of bangs, bang, 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 bang. And the young fella turns to me and he goes, "I think he's still going." And it's just nice now that that young fella now is winning prizes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, brilliant,
It's
brilliant.
it's coming to a nice way, like, you know what I mean?
Full circle, full
Yeah,
circle. Yeah.
yeah. So that's pretty much where I'm at with shooting.
And deer stalking, Andy.
Yeah. So myself and my brother have started into that. So we're doing a bit of it. Wouldn't be near your level in that, but yeah, we're tipping away. He's shooting at 270. I'm in the process of getting a 6.5 Creedmoor. I'm going down the route of a Howe to match it up with a 223 that I have.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So looked at going 270 as well, but if I went 270, I'd have a long action, so the parts wouldn't be interchangeable. So I can get a stock for the 223, and it's
Very good.
interchangeable with the 6.5. So that's the thinking behind it.
Thinking behind it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it means when you pick up the rifle, it's the same kind of action and
Same
everything.
feel,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Comfort.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then do an awful lot of fox slamping. Very busy year this year for that, myself and the brother. We've had loads of farmers all over the place ringing us, which is a massive massive increase on previous years, like, which is mad when they're trying to get this bill in, like, farmers crying out for people to get rid of foxes, like.
It's sensitive. We're going to talk about it in our next one, but like we were out the other night and we just seen, I mean,
high 20s.
It's
Yeah.
and that's only in a couple of hours, and it's not even, we didn't have to work hard to see them. We didn't have to drive far, and that's in areas I was actually where, control will be done quite regular, But I definitely think there's a prevalence in, maybe town foxes being caught and released. I know it's happening in our area.
Yeah.
Which is just fucking senseless. They don't know what they're doing. They're because some of the foxes are in rag order. They're bringing them from the towns and dropping them out. They're not able to survive out there,
Shouldn't they be the easy ones for him to get, Rob? He should be well able to shoot those ones.
Yeah.
I was trying to put Rob on a couple.
Wait and hear the next podcast where we talk about this fox shooting.
Yeah.
It was horrendous.
It was terrible.
So that's pretty much where I'm at. Dogs wise, when I was younger, we used any amount of dogs. We had when we were younger, we had springers, setters, pointers. So then my official, we had a couple of family dogs before that. We had a couple of springers. We had a couple of droppers and things like that. And then my official first dog was English pointer. So the black and white pointer. Not by any means trialing standard, but I got plenty of birds with him. I was very happy with him. And anyone who came with me got plenty of shots. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obedient to me and done what I wanted him to do, but wasn't going to win a trial or anything like that. Continued on from that. My brother bought into he got a German pointer dog. He died a couple of years ago, and he's on his second German pointer dog. And in between that, I bought an Irish red and white setter, so the traditional red and white. But mostly pointing dogs. Setters, they're grand, but the pointer is just, there's something about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really like them.
I'd love to see that working, Andy, when we come up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've never seen a pointer.
Neither have I.
Or
the setter, I mean,
yeah.
Oh, my setter. Well, he's touching 10 now. There's not much work left in him. God love him.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But we can try him for a wee short run somewhere on a bog or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lovely even to see him. Yeah.
We got the advice that go down the road and neuter him in later life to stop cancer.
Okay.
And you know yourself, when you neuter a working dog, the balloon a bit. Do you know what I mean? You just can't keep it off them. But it was more to preserve life rather than anything else. Like
part of the family now.
Yeah, exactly. The two boys would be heartbroken if anything happened to him. God love him.
Yeah.
Because essentially that's what happened. My English pointer, he died at 11. He was riddled with cancer, and the vet had said if I had to get him castrated a couple of years beforehand, we might have got a couple more years out of him.
Yes. And so, have you any plans to what will be the next dog, or what's?
I'd say I'll be looking at a German pointer,
okay.
I'd say, yeah. Just like them, good hard hunting dogs. Would see a bit of the trialing, not involved in it now. My brother has shot at a couple of trials in that, but the likes of I don't know if you know Derek O'Connor there. He has a couple of great wire hairs, and just like the look of the wire hair and even the short hair. Either of them,
Shane O'Neill actually is a big fan. He sings that the wire hair is from the rooftops, that he reckons that's the dog, and we'll be visiting him shortly.
Yeah,
so we'll please go get a look at them. But look, it's every person has their preference and what they want from a dog, and at different parts of your life you want different things as well. So
exactly, yeah. I love the style and the kind of like the classy look of a dog on point. You know what I mean? Now that's not taken away from the flushing dogs, the likes of Springers and Labs and all that sort of stuff. They're workhorses, but I just like the wee bit of class. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You can understand both aspects, because you flip yourself when.
I've never actually witnessed a trial in pointing. I'd love to go and see one.
Yeah.
Because I heard a good pointer is
Yeah.
Very, very, very nice.
Savage.
Yeah, well, like they run trials just north of us in Petticoat, up there with Eamon, and a great day out. So yeah,
Hopefully, we might even touch base with lads and try, because I know even the trial end, it's one of them things where we need to try and, what would you say, encourage young blood in, young people in,
100%.
and our new people, just new people. You know, there's people can come to it in their 20s, 30s. You know,
Yeah. But the guys now in there are doing a good job. Like they had, I don't know if they've had it yet, but they were doing a novice day, rock up with your puppy, and if nothing else, the boys are going to tell you, oh, this is what you need to do, and that's what you need to do, and that's worth more than anything. Like, do you know?
Without I sing it from the rooftops. Like he'd know more about dog training than I would have read.
Yeah.
But just picking up bits and pieces to make your dog work that little bit better for you. That's where, my dog is never going to be a trial dog, but it's going to be a good companion for me in the next couple of years for my hunting. And that's all you want. And you'll pick up, if you go to these trials, and I've seen this firsthand with down with Ivan and the lads. There's nobody there. It's ultra welcoming. There's nobody there that's going to say, "Oh, that's a stupid fucking question. Why are you asking that?" They have an answer for you to a detail. Like they'll say why that's happening and why you need to do this, or maybe try that. It's
Yeah. No, like the guys be
massively
welcoming, and it's definitely try and touch base with some of them.
We'll switch, I suppose, not quickly, but swiftly to reverse back to when was the first time you had a fishing rod in your hand? I know it's a big smile on your face, so this is
first time I had a fishing rod in my hand, I would have been very, very small.
Yeah.
When I went out in one of my dad's mates' boats, so small, like, gradually kind of built on that. My uncle bought a boat. I remember I was so young that I wasn't allowed to go fishing lobster pots because it was too dangerous. And then gradually built up and was allowed to go with that. And you were stood in a corner and stay there and don't do anything. And then my dad and my uncle started fishing commercially lobster pots. Got to go a bit, and then kind of kicked on from there. Went from fishing with them, fishing with my uncle. I started fishing with a local man then who was more commercial. So we were turning over about 1,000 pots a day, or 700-800.
Wow.
And we were at that. I was at that at 14, 15 kind of age. We were at a bit of the salmon as well. So that was back when you were allowed to drift net. So we were doing the salmon as well. Cracked on with that, fished for him for a couple of years. Unfortunately, he took ill and passed away. I continued on fishing, obviously. I was fishing my own boat at that stage, small boat. The pointer used to come with me all the time. It'd be myself and himself. I wouldn't have even been old enough to drive. My mum would drop me to the pier with the dog, and we'd head away, catch our fish, and ring and come home, and then I'd sell them, and that was me few pound, like.
Brilliant.
So that kind of funded the shooting for the winter.
Yeah.
And cracked on from there. I went to work for a company in Cork. It was a guest house, so it was Whispering Pines. The guest house is still there. I work for the Toomey family. They had 3 commercial boats, so they used to do charter fishing. It's basically like what G lads would be going on in Galway. So I went down there at 17 skippering that. Remember, I wasn't able to get pints in certain pubs. You know what I mean? You were sneaking in the door at certain ones.
Pints in any pubs, Andy.
Yeah. So I remember, like, I went down for an interview. Boats always look bigger out of the water. Like, they always look bigger, right? And I remember stood in this boatyard, and it was a 47-foot Aquastar, twin 500 horsepower engines, a big old girl, right? And your man was there, and he was telling me all about it, whatever. And I was like, yeah, that sound. He says, that was it. We headed away. Me and my dad brought me down. And he said to me, what do you think? I said, she's a big old girl, like. And he turned around and he says, a boat's a boat. They all do the same thing. And that's one of the things that stuck with me. Like, the whole way through life, it's been the same. I went away and I started driving ships, like big ships, 300 meters. Boat's a boat. They all do the same thing. Like, you can drive a small boat really well. You can do a big boat the same, like.
Same job.
Yeah. So fished there for the summer. Great time. That was basically an awful lot of Germans, Germans and Dutch. They used to basically fly into Cork. The company had a bus, picked them up, brought them to the guest house. Everything was provided there. They had a wee pub and everything. Down to the boat, fish, back up dinner. Ate all their own fish on up there. It was a great package.
Brilliant.
I'd say 90% of the clientele were non-Irish.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that was cool in that regard. Lots of guys with different backgrounds and things like that. Some guys used to come as groups.
Just on that, Andy. So
Yeah.
is that still going today, or is that
No,
that's gone?
no, that's gone. The guy who was running it, was basically, it was a father-son thing, and the son actually got really sick, and they sold up the business,
Wow.
because I was all set to go back down again, and it just didn't work out.
It sounds. Do you know what I mean?
It was fantastic. It was
Fantastic,
absolutely
yeah.
fantastic. I thought it was a great idea.
I
Like,
know what caught his idea. He got to eat all the fish, and someone was preparing it for him that evening.
yeah, yeah,
And the
yeah,
pub
And the
and the
pub.
fish and
yeah. No, it was
What's
great.
not like about that?
Yeah, like you'd land home with your fish. We'd bring it up in the pickup, and literally it'd be straight into the kitchen. We'd fillet it, or some of us would be filleting and skinning it, and then that'd be straight in, and that's what they'd have for their dinner. They loved it.
Good job.
They used to vac pack it then for sending home some of them, but it was all up to them. It was a package deal, like.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
So then, yeah, then that summer, that winter, then I got me driver's license and everything, and I'll never forget. Like, I had a good summer. I had a good summer, like, and I bought a car, and I remember going in to get insured, and I forget what it was. It was like $2,500, and your mom was like, "Oh, do you want to set up a payment scheme or what?" And I was like, "How about cash?" Because I had all these tips, like.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
paid that off, and that was it. Like, you know what I mean? And then after that, I went to college, fished the summers, on a small boat for another gentleman. So fished that as a deckhand, and then skippered it for him for a while, and then I went away. To sea, and he was like, "Oh, do you know anyone that's looking for a start?" And at the time, my dad was pretty much at retirement age, and he was like, I said, "The old lad will go with you." Now, he had fished in a previous life, like,
Yeah.
before he worked as such, and he went away fishing with him then. So that was quite cool.
The lobster pots. That's fascinating, because like I love lobster. You know, love it. I love any fish.
Yeah.
But I remember even my youngest girl, we go down every year to Barna, and there's a lovely fish shop there in Barna, and she picks out whatever lobster we have and we bring it home. And how, I suppose, talk us through that process. I don't know anything about it apart from what I've seen on TV.
Yeah. So it's look, it's all fairly dramatized on TV. You know that yourselves, like.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have a couple of options. You buy into the gear, or you make them yourself. So we would have done a bit of both. So you'd buy or you'd make. So you buy frames, cover the pots, and make them. So you do all the tie-in and stuff like that. So we do a little bit of that, and then or else we just buy them in. It all depends. And then you'd be mending. You mend your pots every year, or as the season goes on, so they get torn and ripped and stuff. And then there's two eyes. It's kind of hard to explain without showing you, but there's two eyes. The idea is that the lobster goes in for the bait and then can't get back out the eye. It's just to do with the shape and that. Bait wise, yeah, they're sort of like conical and lifted up off the bottom. So when he goes in, he drops down, and he can't just get directly back out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a super fishery. Like, it's classed as a sustainable fishery. BIM have done huge work with it in Ireland, and we're involved in the V-notching process. So the idea behind that is you get hens with eggs, bring them to BIM, and they give you a certain amount of money for them. And then you put a V-notch in their tail. So you cut a V out of their tail, and then you release them back into the wild.
I've seen this.
Usually takes about 7 years for that V to grow out. And so you're talking 7 years of having a couple of million eggs, like. So, you know, the idea is that you'll get there. Fishery from my side, like, when I started, we used to get lots of big lobsters, big lobsters. It's kind of gone that we're not getting big lobsters, but we're getting a nice size, and there's way more smaller lobsters, I find anyway. You know what I mean? You could hold your 10 pots and you could have 20 small lobsters under the size, like the one I was showing Rob there the other day.
Yeah.
Under that 87 millimeters, and they're released back into the sea as
So
such.
you're skipping over the finite detail because you know it, right?
Yeah.
But what depth, or how do you get the depth that you're putting the pot? I presume the pot.
Oh, right. So, sorry. Yeah. So
and then what bait and
Yeah.
what
Okay.
type of features on the bottom are you looking for? That type of stuff that we wouldn't have a clue about.
Yeah. So lobsters like to live in like cracks and crevices, rocks. So you're looking for hard ground, preferably with some spikes or hills or that kind of stuff. You wouldn't be looking for flat rock. No, you can get them there too, like, but you're looking for kind of humps and bumps and stuff like that. Basically, like your rough shore, and that's what you're looking for, right? You're looking for that. Depth wise, you can have them from any depth. Like I've got lobsters on the shore, hooking them out from the rocks when I was a young fella with a coat hanger. Like, do you know what I mean? Your rock pools and stuff like that. So depth wise, you want to be below the low water mark, definitely. I find you want to be in a 2 meters or thereabouts of water, to get a constant kind of good enough go on it. And then bait wise, what we do is we salt fish. So the reason we salt it is it makes that bit harder and it lasts a bit longer.
Okay.
You could put it in fresh, but you wouldn't be fishing as long. Do you know what I mean? You fire your bait in, and you're talking fishing 2 days, 3 days with salted fish. The other fish it'd be kind of nearly rotted away out of it, or it washes away with the tide and stuff. Smaller fish can eat away at it, so it just makes it hard when you salt it.
Yeah,
Very
So
good.
so
Very
that'd
good.
be how we do that. Then if you want to go like brown crabs, so like the crab claws you get, that'd be sand, and you're talking fresh fish. Fresher the better. Like you don't want to be salting it or anything like that.
I'm a dab hand at catching the out crab myself. I had caught one down in Salt Hill or in Spittle Pier.
He caught a spider crab.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And did you eat him? Was he big enough to
did.
eat?
He did. Yeah.
I did. And
Very tasty.
Yeah.
We had to Google how to dispatch a spider crab.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we were looking at this thing going, oh, I don't actually know what to do.
None of us were expecting to bring this up on a fishing rod. So yeah. Anyway.
But essentially, like a spider crab is there, and it's there in abundance, and it's pretty much like your Alaskan king crab. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fantastic meat.
It's delicious. The legs are amazing. You know what I mean? And the bit that I love is when you have more cooked up, the legs, you can just cut it down with a scissors, and you can basically take it out. It's like a seafood sausage. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I cooked actually. I brought it home, and I think there's pictures up actually on Instagram. And we had a lovely meal. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I just have to learn how to do that trick again.
Yeah.
But when we're down, I'd love to see. We'll give you a hand. We'll go out and do a bit of graft.
Yeah.
We'll pull in a few plots with you, hopefully.
We'll bring you out. We'll get a bit of that done. Yeah, definitely.
And how do you tell the difference between males, females?
So
is there a time of year you can fish for them, or when they're spawning, or anything like that?
No, you can essentially fish for them all year round. They slow down a lot in the winter when the water gets colder. They don't move as much. And then males and females. The female's tail is the back of the tail, or not the fin part, but the other part is wider. But also, if you turn them over, underneath they have they're like swimmers, and on a female they're all soft the whole way up, whereas the last two on a male will be hard.
Okay.
So I'm due to go fishing tomorrow. I'll clip a few pictures of male and female and send them on to Rob there, and it'll give you an idea. Yeah. I only actually thought of that the last time when I sent you the size video. That I should have turned them over and showed you.
But sure, it's like anything, when as Rob said there, you're explaining it no more than when we're talking about shooting or grollicking or something. You're glossing over small bits that we just literally take for granted because you're doing it all the time. But
I'm very guilty of that. I say something thinking you know the half an hour of words in between what I
Yeah,
just said.
yeah.
So that's why I was pulling you back to because I know there'll be listeners going, sure,
Yeah,
what bait do you use?
yeah, yeah,
What type of ground?
yeah. No, yeah, you'd be looking for oily kind of fish is the main thing.
The main thing. And come
Yeah.
here, what's the market? Predominantly the market. Is there a good market for lobster here in Ireland now? Or is it growing or
It's crazy. Like most of our fish in this country is shipped abroad
yeah.
because
It's madness.
we don't use it, like, and it's
Yeah.
mental. Like, I'm there and I see boys coming and foreign lads, and they're coming and they're taking everything with them because they want to cook it, they want to freeze it, they want to, maximize it. And you have Irish guys go away and go fishing on boats, a day's pleasure fishing, and they're throwing stuff back or they're not taking half of it. And it just seems mad to me.
It is, and we see it quite a lot. I don't think there's that many. I'm sure there's plenty of Irish lads going fishing, but there's a lot more foreign lads that would be into it, and
Yeah.
they use the majority of their catch. Yeah, because I know plenty of lads who want to go fishing with us, but they won't eat the fish afterwards.
Yeah.
Do you find that, or did you find that on the boats?
Like, there'd be a lot of lads that would want to come and they'd only want to eat certain ones, which I kind of get. Like, some people don't like mackerel, some people don't like pollock or whatever. Like, but like, you can always do catch and release. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless the swim bladder's out in them, you can do catch and release. And that's the way I'd look at it. And I know there in Sligo, like Ewing Charters, he does a lot of catch and release, so you just let them go, like, and like that's possibly the way forward if you're not going to use it. Like, the last thing you want to be doing is dumping it. Now, on the other hand, like the likes of me, I take whatever's excess, so heads and things like that from the charter boats.
Or
I take
pots.
that, use it as bait, like, so it's all
Yeah.
used.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's amazing. Like, we have so much fish in this country and it's shipped abroad. And the same, like, really, when you think about it, the same with all the game stuff. Like, we'd love to go shooting deer every day, but we have no place to put it. So we don't, as ethical hunters, we don't do it.
Yeah.
True.
Do you know?
And is lobster fishing the only type of fishing that you're doing, or is there something?
So pretty much wound down to that now at the minute. Do a bit of shrimp at times.
Oh, yeah.
Catch a bit of shrimp, mostly for the guys to do for the salmon, dyeing it. So if someone's looking for some, we'll eat it as well. Like, they're tasty. And then I do a bit of rod fishing. Summertime now, obviously your mackerel, different bits and pieces. I love light gear, big fish. That's the mecca for me. So I love pollock on, we'd say, like, your pike spinners and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Pike, little light spinning rods, jelly worms, things like that. One fish, good fight. That's what I really enjoy. You know
It's
what I mean?
actually very good crack.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Like you can batter away there with, you know yourselves, these sea reels and rods. They're fantastic, but you can wind in 3 massive pollock and you wouldn't even know. Like, whereas if you have one on a light gear, and you have to be careful that you're not going to break them off, and that's what it's all about. It's really good, really good. And then that's kind of like where my fishing is at now. We do a little bit of nets, but that's very, very limited. That'd be flat fish and things like that. But
Have you ever done any bigger fish?
I've done the elephant in the room. So I would have done tuna in Sligo. That'd be pretty much the biggest you get around Sligo. So that'd be fishing out west. So you'd be out west of Inishmurray. You're well west. It's a full day of steaming. And you basically have trolling lures on the surface, and landed some big fish. Good friend of mine, Ewing Charters, Daryl. He's been doing it the last couple of years. Like, and it's mad. Like, probably about 7 or 8 years ago, or maybe more. It was when he had his old boat. I got a load of lures when I was away in Portugal on a holiday. Brought them home, and the two of us were out there all day with the biggest rods we had at the time. And we're steaming around the bay, and we're going to ourselves, we'll just catch a wee one, we'll be grand. Like, and now looking at it, we were mental. Like, if we had to hook one up, we would have broke everything. Like, they're animals of fish, and he is like the best of gear. Like Darrell will be very, very into his gear and the best of it.
What's the name of his charter?
Ewing's
Ewing,
charter.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
He's based up here.
Darrell
in
doesn't
Sligo.
know it yet, but we're coming down to Darrell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have his
yeah.
number and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, he's at it. And there's actually another boat here in Sligo. They had the license a couple of years ago, and hopefully this year they're going to get it again. So we'll see. It's you can actually kill them and land them. It's a tag and release job.
Okay.
So like that's just the way it is. We have no choice. But
Yeah.
the power is just phenomenal. Like, oh, it's amazing when you get a big one on, and the drive, and it's really cool.
And in terms of the tag and release, on like what's the, what's the theory behind that? What's the
What are they trying to gather? What information?
I think it's a lot of like tuna weren't really around in Ireland a lot of years ago, and now they are. So they're trying to figure out what exactly we're going to do with it, like, or how it's going to go forward. I know that hopefully one day we'll be able to land them, like, because like everyone loves an old can of tuna, like, and there's a hell of a lot of cans in a 300 kilo fish, like, but yeah, I don't really know. I think it's just more to catch data and see where our fish are going to or coming from.
Okay.
They're spectacular fish, like when you see them, like, and they're jumping out of the water and everything. It's amazing.
Numbers wise, there's good quantity, because I've heard people up around the coast of Donegal. There's tuna up around that area as well. So
yeah. So we'd essentially be right in Donegal Bay.
Okay.
So we'd be talking fishing kind of the same grounds as a lot of the Donegal boys. And look, it's huge shoals, scary how many, like, and it's unreal to see, like you'd see pods of dolphins and stuff more down south, same thing, but tuna. And then like we have a great sprat fishery here around that time of year. A lot of boats out of Killybegs are fishing sprat and that's probably what they're coming in chasing. But
that's what I was going to ask you. I know tuna move really, really fast. So does the fish finder pick them up, or is it a case that you're looking for the bait ball of sprat?
Yeah, from my experience, it'd be you're kind of looking for the bait ball or the breaking on the surface.
Yeah,
they'd be breaking on the surface, and you're looking to go through them. You'd be steaming all the time, and you're towing lures behind you. And for all the world, you're looking at it going, what are they there? That's not going to catch a fish. It's basically like a Christmas tree of squids.
Yeah.
So, you have 1, 2 in the next one, 3 in the next one, and then there's only one hook on them in the very middle. And you're creating like a splash, a sprat breaking the surface behind the boat. And that's what you're aiming for. Okay. And then bang, away you go. Fill your boots.
So it's surface fishing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you're steaming along. Don't quote me on it. Probably about 6 knots, 7 knots, maybe a wee bit more.
That must be some buzz watching that.
Oh yeah.
That's coming to.
Like, don't get me wrong. You're steaming around there for a long time. You're going, Jesus, did I waste all my life? This is pointless. But then next thing, boom, you're on, and the adrenaline starts and the buzz on the boat, and it's epic. It's epic.
And that must be some work then. The work starts then, obviously, when.
Oh yeah. No more than when you pull the trigger on a deer. Like, your work starts once you hook them.
How long are you talking? Like, from
it all depends. Sometimes you get a big fish that'll just come in. You get a small fish that won't come in. But like, if you're not going to be brutally rough on them, you could be talking a half an hour, 45 minutes minimum.
So you want to earn your salt.
Yeah. You get him up close enough, and he takes another dive, empties the reel, and it's good. It's really good. Like, it's very exciting. Very exciting.
I never knew we had tuna. It was never a thing I thought I could pursue here on the island.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. Like, people, like, I fished in Portugal, fished in the Caribbean for tuna. You know what I mean? And to be honest, the biggest fish have been up here, like, which is amazing.
Well, there you go. I mean,
real powerhouses.
Going back to what we're saying, sometimes what's on our own doorstep here.
Yeah.
We think we have to go And look, we do it. We go abroad a little more than yourself, and we've done
Yeah.
it. But there's some beautiful parts of the country with some huge and brilliant fish and great fish.
Yeah.
And I think we're hopefully going to do a little bit more of that this year. So we're really
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, like there's loads of other things as well, like blue sharks, amazing fishing too. Like, you know what I mean? That's really, really cool. You can do that up here. I used to do a lot of that when I was down in Cork, taupe, all that sort of stuff. Like, good fish, interesting stuff. Like, no more than mackerel. You get a big rod and you wind them in, or you can lower down the grade of the rod, go with lighter gear, and you put up more of a fight, more entertainment. You have to think about it and work for it, like, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So
And
yeah.
would you be? Is your heart torn? I ask this kind of. This is one of my things where I try and see if I had to pick one, fishing rod or gun in hand, which would it be?
Oh, I would probably say gun in hand, like gun in
Yeah.
hand. Yeah, 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 yeah. I've had some fantastic days out. Um,
And favorite game out of that,
Probably the woodcock.
the Woodcock.
Just super fast. You don't know where they're going to be. Like, it's just, yeah, it's brilliant, brilliant sport.
What's yours? You had to pick.
If I had to pick, it would probably be rough shooting.
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, probably snipe.
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 Mm. Snipe, tricky. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Just because I can't hit. Fuck off.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, there's something about it. Look, I think we asked that question and smile instantly comes on people's faces when you ask it, because you're transported to a memory that obviously resonates with you at that time. So look,
Yeah.
we're blessed. I think we've as I say, some of the best scenery, the best waters, the best rough shooting in
We
the
take
world,
it for granted.
without a doubt.
A
We
lot.
take it for granted.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
Like, I
why for the
would've-
next while we're going to go around and have a look at, as we were talking off air, have a look
Yeah.
at what Ireland has to offer instead of always looking
further
abroad.
field. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because when we were talking, you were saying the same thing that we'd be thinking.
Yeah.
And then it sort of concreted that idea. Yeah, we should go around and have a look at what other lads are doing.
Yeah, yeah. Like I've had the luck, or the with my previous job, that I fished salmon in Alaska. You know what I mean? I done ice fishing in Sweden. I fished in Tasmania for flatheads. Do you know what I mean? It's no better than we have here. Like, do you know what I mean? When you
Yeah.
actually break it down, like, if you strip it back, yeah, you get to put it on the thing. Oh yeah, I caught a salmon in Alaska. A salmon down the river here is nearly better. Like, do you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
get more of a fight out of it. It's more excitement. Like, do you know what I mean?
Without a doubt. And I think the thing about hunting and fishing in your own
Yeah.
before, I'm guilty of. I probably, shot stuff quicker abroad than I have here. My experience kind of built in some instances
Yeah.
further afield. But like, and you're kind of always like, oh geez, you see some of the pictures, hunting in Africa and hunting in Alaska and stuff, and you're saying, oh, that's my dream,
Yeah, yeah,
forgetting that I haven't seen the scenery in Sligo. I haven't,
Yeah.
fished off the coast of Donegal. I haven't,
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
All these
Yeah.
places.
And I
down
think, like, the vast difference in the landscapes, like even when you get down towards the Midlands there, like, you have your farms are good farms, flat fields and things like that. Everything up here is rough. Like, do you know what I mean? It is rough. And when you go out and you do, like, 1st of November last year, I was out with my brother, smartwatch. I had 18 kilometers done in the day. Like,
Yeah.
and that's not in,
19 rough kilometers.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Hard
So,
walking.
cross stitches, and you know what I mean? Excellent day. Loved every second of it. You know what I mean? Was probably soaked 3 or 4 times, it dried off, but loved every second of it.
Second.
But
Do you know what I
here's the thing, right? And I don't want to skip lanes really quickly, but your current job is
Yeah.
search and rescue.
Yeah, so I was getting to that. Yeah, so I sailed all over the world commercially. So drove cruise ships for a living, and then there 2 years ago, I left that job and came home. Mostly because of my family. The whole being away so much youngest kid was he wasn't even 2, making strange every time I came home. So it was like, no, I've had enough of this. So went into search and rescue. So I'm based up in Malin. Pretty much cover I do cover down to Galway from Derry, or from the border there in the north. And then in search and rescue can be anything from out at sea, but also in accessible areas like up mountains and stuff like that.
So that's where I was going with it, Andy. I wasn't actually trying to push you into telling me what you do, right? I was pushing you into, let's say, how many instances have hunters or walkers or fishermen?
Well, to be honest, right, if you break it down, right, hunter wise, we don't have very many, like, which is a credit to hunters, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Walkers and things like that. Yeah, obviously, like we have some of the kind of Patrick could be a bit of a hotspot in that. You know what I mean? Those kind of things. You do have other instances, and again, it's people don't know where they are. You turn around to them and you say, "Oh well, they parked their car at Jimmy's house down the road." Who the fuck is Jimmy? Like, you know what I mean? And we're sat there going, "We'll get you help. Tell us where you are." And it's amazing. Like, and I think us as hunters, we probably do it as well. Like, Anto, you said a couple of times in different podcasts, you go out to clear your head, like, but you go and you park your car or whatever, and you head away, right? But if you had to tell someone where that car was that had no idea, could you tell them where it was? Like, do you know what I mean?
That's the thing. I've often thought about this, because we'd have this conversation. Say I go out, like what you heard, go out hunting at night or whatever, to throw the rifle over the shoulder, and off I go. And I could tell Avril, like, I'm just going down the lane,
Yeah.
And then I could nip down the lane, and there's nothing moving down there, and I'd shoot down to the club, and all of a sudden I'm in the middle of a fucking bog that, I know we've nicknames for different corners of it,
Like if he rang and said, "I'm at the three trees," I'd know exactly where that was.
The three trees,
or the swamp, or the hardlands. I'd be like, right, I'll be there. But if he said that to anyone else,
they'd be fucking looking at you.
What you're talking about.
Yeah, but flip it on the other side, right? So we'd say, touch wood now, that doesn't happen. But say one of you is at the three trees and something happens to you and you need help.
Yeah.
How are you going to tell someone on the outside?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So I think, like, hunters, we're not very accident prone anyway, right? So, we'll get over that. But, there's some amazing apps out there, like, and I'm not promoting anything, but like what 3 words? I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
So it's basically 3 words for every square meter. So it's an app. I've started doing it now the whole time, actually, since I got involved in search and rescue. So I'll go out hunting, pull up on the car, and I'll know where I'm going. Like, but if it's particularly rough ground that I'm like, I'll just open up what 3 words. Right, my car is parked in Quebec, Stephen 7, and that's a square meter on the map of the earth, right?
Okay.
So the idea behind that is, if something happens to me, I can say I'm up the field a mile from this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But also at the same time, if you have phone coverage, your what 3 words will work anywhere. Like, so, like, for example, like, you're in the Midlands now, you probably have you'd have a what 3 words for every square of your house.
Okay.
So every square meter of your house will have a combination of 3 words.
Okay.
To that exact location. So if you rang me up and you said, I've fallen, I've broken my leg, I am in this square of what 3 words, I'd be like, yeah, know exactly where you are. No problems.
That's very, very good.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because people, like, you can have GPSs and all, you're investing more money. You can have your smartphone with your GPS coordinates and stuff like that. People don't know how to read it, whatever. Like, it's the simplest one, I think.
Brilliant. That's a very good idea.
Yeah, very good. Could you do us a favor after the podcast?
Yeah.
Can you just give us a contact phone number for the search and rescue? If someone in your area or the area that you cover gets in bother, either hunting or fishing, we can bang it out and they can save it into their phone.
You go straight 999.
Do you?
Straight 999, and then we'll work everything off that.
Okay, very good.
You know what I mean? So it's directly linked to that. Like,
okay.
Yeah. So that's the way it works.
So
for example, like, if you if you rang me up and you said I'm stuck on the side of a mountain, I'm going to have to say to you, no, you need to talk to the ambulance service. They're going to have to come back to me and say, we can't get to this guy. And then that's when we can do something.
Okay.
I can't just fire out helicopters to whoever wants them. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
That's the procedure. So it's kind of
It
out of
goes
my
by
hands.
process of elimination before it gets. You're kind of the last line of defense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's the most? I suppose what's the most bizarre or interesting rescue you can remember?
If you could talk about
If you can talk about it, yeah.
Oh, look, you get strange ones all the time. Like, well, actually, we had a great one in Killybegs. Not Killybegs, it was further north. But we had a farmer ring up and his sheepdog went over the side of a cliff. Do you know what I mean? And he was like, I'm going to tie her up to myself and go down and get it. And the man was in his 80s, like, do you know what I mean? And he's gone down. He's like, it's my sheepdog and I want them. So the Killybegs Coast Guard unit actually went down and got him down the cliff, got this dog. But that one was pretty cool. You know what I mean? A man and his love for his dog. Like, I know, like, some sheepdogs can be big money and stuff like that, but you know,
that goes beyond. I think it just proves the point. And I just as you were telling that story, I was reading something today about there was one of these, fucking sentient rights or something going on about, farmers and their the bloodthirst and all this kind of, and raising things to be killed. And the complete fucking opposite is true. They look after, at certain times, they're in most cases their livestock better than they look after themselves.
Oh yeah. I definitely say that. Like, like farmers would feed their animals before they feed themselves. Like,
without a doubt.
And you'd meet them on the road at all hours. I'm just going down to check the cattle. Might have checked them 30 times that day, but they're still going to check them. There
was an old man around here. My grandfather knew him, and he used to sleep under 2 sheets of galvanized in lambing season. He'd go out into the fields, he'd have 2 sheets of galvanized, and he'd sleep, underneath them while the sheep were lambing. With the sheep, literally with them. That's madness. In somebody's eyes, but just shows you the
dedication, like
dedication.
care for animals,
without a doubt.
Yeah.
Andy, we could probably chat, I think, to you most of this night. It's been, I think there's smiles on all our faces here. We're really looking forward to getting down to you. When we're off air, we're going to start plans afoot. And we'll start doing that really soon. Really well done on the work you're doing down there as well. I think it's phenomenal. You're really pushing the new members, the youth, and so on and so forth. I know that's a big thing of yours. Keep doing that, my man. We're huge fans. So keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. No. And thanks for having me on. And I think, like, one other thing before we go, I think we all have to kind of thank the other halves, really, don't we? Like, they put up with an awful lot, really. Like my wife's away doing bedtime now. I'm here talking about shooting and hunting. You know what I mean?
When you're not doing it, you're talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's quite funny. Like, I'm off for 4 days now. I have this tonight, and then tomorrow I actually have a regional AGM, and she's like, geez, you're away 2 nights this week.
And you know what we might do? We might bring up our women when we come up and see it, and the 3 of them can have a chat about how lucky they are to have men.
To have us. Exactly. You know what I mean? Exactly. Yeah.
It might be safer to keep them apart, maybe. Just like a coup,
There'll be a lynch squad ready for us when we come back in from fishing.
Just on that, shout out to your two kids.
Yeah, Benjamin and Alfie, and then my wife Jamie.
Shout out to the family. Yeah,
thanks very much for that. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, listen, take care of yourself, my man, and we'll be talking to you really, really soon. Thanks a million.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Thanks very much.
Andy.
Cheers now. Bye.